Hey Cleveland, your favorite show is on. Good Day with Olivia begins right now.
And,
Like, who's Olivia?
You're kidding, right?
Who's Olivia? You know, that girl on the radio. You know, the little short girl. She ain't nothing but 3 feet tall. You know, her love for the city is greater than her stature.
No, I'm just kidding, please.
It was a joke, it was a joke, it was a joke. She's a baby. Light up a little bit.
Right. Tell him some more.
She's my favorite host on the KAZ radio and television network.
Connecting Cleveland. It's Good Day with
Olivia! I'm your host, Olivia Winston, reporting live from Cleveland.
CLE.
You're tuned into GDWO. Good Day with Olivia starts right now.
Welcome back to the Good Day with Olivia show here on the KAZ Radio and Television Network. I'm your host, Olivia Winston, here serving up the good news happening right here in the city of Cleveland, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Cleveland, how often are you reading? For most of us, reading is a part of our daily routine at work, at school, and at home. Yet, literacy rates are suffering throughout the U.S., particularly here in the city of Cleveland, with our youth suffering the most. So whether we are using our reading skills to enjoy a good read, catch up on the latest news, or to check out the nutritional facts on the back of our favorite cereal, reading is a critical and necessary skill to have, and a skill that must be nurtured. After all, reading is fundamental. Here from the Collinwood Reads program to lead us in today's conversation is Ebony Donley. Welcome to the studio, Ebony.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, thank you for joining so early this Saturday morning. Before we jump right into the topic, I have to give a news update. So for all you trick-or-treaters out there who are looking to get the Halloween party started a little bit early, today you can go down to the Cleveland Metro Parks Zoo for Boo at the Zoo. They will be distributing candy, and you can bring out the little kitties today around 5, and the festivities will go through all the way to 10 p.m. So you have plenty of time to do that. Cleveland, go check it out. And remember, stay warm. Cleveland, are you doing anything special for Halloween? I know a lot of people don't celebrate Halloween.
I'm not doing anything special. However, I will help out at the Collinwood Recreation Center for Big City Boo.
Very good. And is that happening today, or when is that?
It's happening on Halloween, and I believe it starts at 5 o'clock at the Collinwood Rec Center. I'm not sure what time it ends.
Free for community members?
Free for community members.
All right.
Free and open to the public from what I understand.
Okay, we can come dressed up in costume, yes?
Yes, please wear a costume.
Yes. All right. Well, jumping right into the topic. So, Ebony Donley, let's take some time to get to know you. First, I'd like to ask, how are you associated with the Collinwood Reads program?
I'm associated with the Collinwood Reads program because I do a lot of work surrounded around literacy for the Collinwood community. And I started having free game nights through my tutoring company, Literacy Innovations, which we play games to promote reading, math, and problem-solving skills. And I ended up getting recognition from other people in the community as well as people from different communities. And so other people wanted to get involved in what I was doing, and they liked what I was doing for my community, and I was presented with an offer to be the program manager of Collinwood Reads to help bring more literacy and more fun ways to the community.
So you're a program manager. So how long have you been doing this?
Well, I just started this undertaking in March of this year, and I'm excited to announce that now we're starting to get a little more recognition, and people are coming out. We're having greater attendance at our events, and people are looking forward. And now when people see me, they know who I am, and they're starting to recognize me, and people are saying that they've heard good things about what I've been doing for Collinwood.
Awesome. So, what are you doing outside of Collinwood Reads? You're a teacher, is that right?
Yes, I'm a teacher. This is my 18th year teaching for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District.
I don't believe that. You just started last year.
If only it were true.
Can't believe you've been doing this for 18 years, so you definitely have a passion for teaching and education.
Yes, I started off teaching the middle grades. So I taught math to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders for several years. And then with the 3rd grade reading guarantee, I now teach K through 3rd graders. And my focus is, of course, literacy.
Awesome. Awesome. So, are you a Cleveland native? Are you Cleveland homegrown?
Yes, I am a Cleveland native. I'm actually a Collinwood native. I graduated from Collinwood High School. I'm not going to say the year, but I'm a Collinwood graduate, and I have been working in the Collinwood community for about the past 10 years.
Awesome. So, so you love the city of Cleveland?
I do.
Yes. What are some of your favorite places to go in the city?
Let's see. I enjoy the Collinwood Rec Center. I enjoy all of the museums that we have to offer. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is another one of my favorites. The Science Museum is another one. The Science Center is another one of my favorites. Those are my favorite places to go.
What do you love most about this city? We have so much to offer, yes, but what is it about Cleveland that you love and that you decided to keep your gifts here and serve here? Why have you chosen this community?
I love what's going on in Cleveland overall. I'm really impressed with the different Reads programs that are coming out. Slavic Village Reads, Huff Reads, Central Promise Reads, and I like how we are focusing more on our children and literacy. So instead of waiting until they're adults and catching them a little later, we're catching them earlier and hopefully instilling a love of reading.
Yes.
Because I think that's what we need. The passion for reading isn't there as it was when I was a child. So I love how that's coming back slowly but surely, neighborhood by neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the Collinwood Reads program. What is it exactly?
It is a community-based reading initiative in which various community members are getting together, and we plan events that are free and open to the public, surrounded around literacy. And so I'm in partnership with the Salvation Army, the Cleveland Public Library, also just different community members, like people who live there. The Collinwood Scoop is involved. I recently spoke with a barber who was interested in passing out books to the children who came in his barbershop to get haircuts. And so we're just trying to develop literacy within the community by doing fun things.
Mm-hmm. What's the history of the program?
Well, we're following the framework of the Slavic Village Reads model. And so we're going to do some of the things that they've done because they saw their literacy scores improve dramatically just in implementing this program, just because, it's just developing a passion and letting kids know that it's a necessary skill, but not necessarily thinking testing, for the purposes of testing. This is a lifelong skill that people have to have, and we have to stop thinking that we're working toward a test or a test grade. This is what has to happen.
Yeah. So, how long has the program been around in Slavic Village? Is it new to Slavic Village, or have they had it going on for a number of years now?
I'm not certain, but I think that this is just the second year for Slavic Village.
Okay.
But what's amazing to me is the literacy rates in their community and how they have increased in just that short period of time.
Okay, and you've been in it since March. How often is the program active? How often are you guys in the community? Is the program operating daily, or are you opening just certain days of the week? How often are you guys in the community?
We host an event at least once a month,
okay,
and it can be anywhere around the community. And so what I've tried to do on the Collinwood Reads Facebook page is showcase everything that I know about, so that maybe if a person can't attend one event, they can attend another event. So the goal is to have at least one event a month, but oftentimes we have several at several different locations.
Very good. And who are you serving? Just Cleveland residents, or residents in the community that you are located in?
Well, actually, it's called Collinwood Reads, but it's open to everybody. I wouldn't like to turn anybody who's interested in increasing literacy. I wouldn't want to turn anybody away. And these events are free and open to the public. And I would like to see attendance from various communities. Okay. But the thing is, some of the communities, they have their own things. But if I can help in any way, because I'm very passionate about literacy, I'm a proponent of literacy, and I believe that this is great work.
Yeah. So this is free.
Yes, free and open to the public. Yes.
What services? So you guys have a lot of games and activities that are drawing people in. But what is it that you guys are providing to the community to promote literacy? What activities or services directly related to literacy, promoting literacy? Are you guys sitting down, having reading sessions, tutoring sessions?
Well, what we do for Collinwood Reads, we get together, we host events centered around literacy, but we pass out books, we try to get kids engaged. But I have a tutoring company, and through that I do community events in which I engage a little more with the parents. I show them strategies where they're not frustrated and maybe their children aren't frustrated. And I show them, just fun things that they can do that are teachable moments within just a child and a parent that doesn't involve frustration on the parent's part or the child's part.
Well, give me an example, because I have a 4-year-old, soon to be 5-year-old, and sometimes it sometimes can be very frustrating to sit down and engage with him because, he's so active and, he gets... things get his attention quite easily, so it's hard to get him to focus. So what are some ways that I can help draw him in?
Well, what I've done is I'll show a parent at a game night, maybe I'll read a book to their child, and I'll show them how to engage by asking clarifying questions, allowing the child to interact with the book as well. And then also I have games such as Candyland and Chutes and Ladders, rhyming word bingo for younger kids. It's not as extensive, and it's interesting. You'll be surprised what kids know. Yeah. We don't think that they know, but they're listening to us. And vocabulary development is crucial. So I just use like higher level vocabulary because they're able to pick up and understand what I mean, and just doing different things to say, hey, don't get frustrated. Like when we're playing bingo, if a parent gets frustrated and say the word is look. And say, for instance, the child may not know the word look. Instead of getting frustrated, I'll pick it up and I'll show it and I'll say, look. Yeah. The word is look. Look for it, L-O-O-K. Just things like that parents don't think of. Mm-hmm. However, it's a simple fix. It's an easy fix.
Why can being part of the process of teaching your child something, reading, anything, why can it be frustrating for parents?
Well, you spoke to it when you said a little bit about attention span. And plus nowadays, the smartphones and other technology has taken over. But I think we don't think that kids like to interact, with their parent or other family members. When I was growing up, I learned a wealth of information from my older cousins and my older brother. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just me by myself, and it wasn't always my parents teaching me something. I learned from family members, and I think that's the component that's missing today.
That required one-on-one engagement.
But not necessarily one-on-one, because you could do it as a group. I remember growing up playing Monopoly and playing Sorry and playing Uno with family members. Mm-hmm. And if I didn't understand something, they showed me. And believe it or not, kids listen to other kids. Yeah. A lot of times kids remember what other kids say to them more than what adults say to them.
Yeah, that is true. That's very true. So let's get into some of our core questions here. Okay, so we can really tackle like what's going on with the literacy rates here in the city of Cleveland. So do you have any stats for us? What are the stats here? Or what percentage of the Cleveland community is reading or is not reading?
According to some statistics that I found on Seeds of Literacy, which I found startling, they said that 66% of Cleveland residents are functionally illiterate.
What does that mean?
It means that they're reading on a fourth grade level or below. And people with this reading level, they have difficulty filling out job applications, reading medication, taking a bus and things of that nature. So that was alarming, and I did not want to believe that it's true.
Yeah.
However, we can see it in some of our communities where people just aren't engaged, and maybe that could be part of the problem.
Why are these rates so low?
I think it could be a number of things. I think it could be, when you struggle with something, you're not usually likely to persevere with it unless you have help. And then I think some people, they just don't know how to reach, the youth. Because it is a little different. The competing with the technology is something. Yeah. It's a big deal, but it can be done. And I think, it's our job as adults, it's our job to instill a love of reading into children by reading to them, by exposing them to good literature. Yeah. And not being judgmental. In today's society, we've made it more about high stakes testing than this is necessary for life. This is a lifelong skill.
Yeah. Now, why is reading so necessary for life? Like, why can you not survive without being able to read?
I'm not going to say that you cannot survive. However, you're at someone else's mercy if you can't read for yourself. Mm-hmm. They say that in kindergarten through second grade, kids are learning to read. They say that after that, third grade and beyond, you're reading to learn. So if you can't read, what are you learning? Think about what comes to your house. When it's time to renew your driver's license, they send you a letter. Mm-hmm. When it's time for you to pay a bill, they send you a letter. Send you a bill. So if you can't do those things on your own, what is your quality of life? Yeah. Because you're not independent. You're always going to be dependent upon someone else.
Right. And you miss out on opportunities, job opportunities.
Exactly.
So that impacts our economy.
Yes.
People don't have jobs. And then we have more people, because they don't qualify for these jobs, they may need government assistance. And so that takes a toll on our economy here. So moving forward, what age are most children here, or whatever information you have? I don't know how many statistics you're up on, but at what age are most children reading by?
Most children are not reading above a third grade level. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. Many of the high schoolers, and I'm speaking from personal experience, and also when I taught GED, when I would give reading assessments to these adults, some of them were reading about the fourth grade level. Okay.
And what age are children usually reading by? Are children usually reading by the time they're in kindergarten?
Well, kids are supposed to read in kindergarten, and kindergarten students are supposed to be reading. Mm-hmm. However, I've met kids who are able to read well before they enter into kindergarten. And I know kids who have struggled all through kindergarten and are maybe learning to read in the first grade. Okay. So it just depends on a number of factors, especially, what's being modeled outside of school. And there's a great disconnect between school and home. Okay. Yeah. And so it's to the point where these children think that, okay, school is for learning, and they think that it over
stops at school.
Once 2:30 comes in, that bell rings for school to end. Yeah. And so the goal is to let them know that learning is continuous, and it can go on well after school is over. And so it's my personal goal to help kids develop a library at home, whereas they will have a variety of good literature, and that's what the little free libraries that are in the communities are for, 24/7 access to books.
Very good. So it's very critical to start engaging children, but what are the critical years to engage children so they can develop these literacy skills? What are the critical ages?
These skills need to start when a child is born.
Yeah.
And that's what the big push is now. That's why when kids go to their pediatrician, that's why they give them board books.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to develop that skill early. That's, I think, part of what happens in a number of communities is we think that when a kid starts kindergarten, it's time to start teaching. But by that point, the 30 million word gap is already in effect. It's already too late.
And they're already giving out tests.
Right.
So, we talked about the level of reading that most Clevelanders are on, which is a 4th grade level of reading. That surprises me because most newspapers are written on a 6th grade level. So you're telling me that most Clevelanders don't even understand what they're reading in the newspaper?
That is correct.
Wow. So what are they doing in the school systems to address illiteracy?
Well, the school systems are doing a lot, especially with the 3rd grade reading guarantee and high stakes testing. I know that kids in the younger grades and the primary grades, kindergarten through 3rd, like they can get a RIMP if they need one. That's a reading improvement plan where they'll get additional support in the areas of literacy. We have like literacy coaches and things like that. So schools are doing their part, but it just has to be continuous. It has to be school, it has to be home, it has to be out in the community. We can't just keep thinking that it's one person's problem or the school's problem or the parents' problem. It is a community issue. And that's what Collinwood Reads is going to address, hopefully.
So as a teacher, you're working with what grade levels?
I work with kindergarten through 3rd graders.
What are you witnessing in your classroom as far as reading abilities?
Well, I'm doing a lot with just making sure that kids have a love of reading. So I'm trying to model good reading. I read to the kids daily, and I show them how to interact with text, and I have conversations with kids about books, just to keep them engaged, just to keep them interested, because it's easier to hook little kids than it is to get older kids, like once they already struggle. It's easier to catch that kid in kindergarten and help them develop a love for reading than it is to get that 5th grader who has struggled since kindergarten.
So a lot of the students that you're coming in contact with in your classroom, you're actually laying the pavement for them in reading and helping them. That they're not already coming to you with the skills, or are you seeing a variety of things in your classroom?
Well, the students that I work with, I am a special education teacher.
Okay.
So I work with students who need that assistance.
Okay.
So I work with kids who have been identified and also at-risk kids, just providing that additional support.
So I want to talk about, you said it's a community effort.
Yes.
To engage children and to really turn the rates around. Can you talk about what is the relationship between a parent's ability to read and then a child's ability to read? Because what I understand is children's reading levels are most dependent on their parents' ability to read, more so than any other factor in their lives. Is that true?
Yes, and more specifically, the stats say that it's the mother's reading ability.
Why the mothers? Is that because children are spending the majority of their time with their mothers? Like, that's a very interesting piece of information. What do you think about that?
I'm not sure. I think it could be because, the parents have been spending more time, and oftentimes parents are like the mother is the number one caregiver, and so she has more maybe one-on-one time with the kid, where maybe the father is out working or something. I don't know.
Out the home, period.
Right, or just not a part of the child's life. But either way, it's very interesting, and I think that, but that mother is going to need some help, and that's where the community comes in. And by community, it could be family, it could be neighbors, it could be other people in the community.
And that's what you were saying was different from when you were a child, because you may not have been your mother who you were sitting around the table with, but you had your aunts, your uncles, and they all could take turns to engage with you and any other children. Because it is a lot for one parent to be that just like it's hard for one teacher to be the sole educator, it is a difficult thing for one parent to have the task of just, being the sole educator. And it does take a community effort to raise up children. They're right when they say it takes a village.
Yes, I believe it takes a village.
Yeah, even when we're addressing literacy. So what I want to know is, have you ever experienced any challenges coming up with reading, or have you always had the passion, and was this always your strength?
Well, reading was always my passion. I remember being able to read from an early age, but I remember going to the library like in preschool age. I remember my brother and I would go to the library, I want to say every 2 weeks, and get books and bring them home. And I had coloring books, that had a story at the bottom. I just had I had a very print-rich environment, and I come from a family of readers. I saw my mother reading, I saw my uncle reading, I saw my dad reading, my aunt, my brother. We were in a family where we had that set of encyclopedias in the home. So, I come from a family of readers.
Yeah.
And so I never struggled with reading. Math was a little different, but I was always good with the reading.
We'll save that for another show. But any tips for parents to help them encourage their children to read?
I think the biggest thing is just to read.
Yeah.
Just read. Expose your children to good literature, various genres, various authors. Just expose them to literature.
Yeah. And also take genuine interest in literature yourself.
Right. Because that's the thing, because a lot of times kids do model what they see. But then, kids are impressionable. They see you reading, and especially if you interact with the book. Like the biggest thing that my students like to see in me is because as I'm reading, I'm smiling, I'm frowning, and they can tell that various things are happening in the book. So they're like, what is happening in your book? So they're interested because I'm interested.
Yes. And for them, you're bringing the story to life. So
exactly. So, and I do it purposefully.
Yeah.
I exaggerate it because I want them to understand, like, hey, this could be just like watching a movie, only you're reading it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's this much action, and things like that. And so that's what I do.
Well, what's your final message to the people out there?
My final message is that reading is important, reading is fundamental, and we have to just do more.
Yeah. So tell the people, where can they reach out to you? How can they ask questions about Collinwood Reads and get involved with the program? Any email address, website?
Yes. Well, I have Collinwood Reads, a Facebook page. I have collinwoodreads@gmail.com for email. You can also reach me at literacyinnovations@yahoo.com, or you can reach me at Literacy Innovations LLC on Facebook.
Well, Cleveland, you've been listening to Ebony Donnelly on the Good Day with Olivia show, and I'm Olivia Winstead, signing off until next week, Cleveland. Remember, reading is fundamental.
Thank you. How did I do?
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed you.
So thank you. But yeah.